The night of August 14th, 2009 was thick with heat in the small Indiana town of Maple Ridge. The kind of summer night when even the air feels heavy, when porch lights draw halos in the humidity, and the sound of cicadas fills the spaces between human thoughts. At 11:37 p.m., the camera on the only gas station in town caught a flicker, a brief frame of silver headlights, then static. By morning, Samantha Hale was gone. Her car, a silver Ford Focus, sat idling beside pump number 2, driver's door wide open. The radio murmured a country song through the static. Her purse, wallet, and keys were still inside. It looked as if she had stepped away for just a moment and never returned. Police were called at 6:14 a.m. By then, the dew had settled on the car's windshield. A thin film of moisture had formed, proof that it had been there all night, untouched. People in Maple Ridge still talk about that morning as if it split their lives into two halves, before Samantha vanished and after. Maple Ridge, Indiana, population 6,403, a town surrounded by cornfields and long stretches of silence. It had one church, one school, and one diner that closed every evening at 9. Life here was slow, predictable. Everyone knew the rhythm: early mornings, honest work, and Friday night games at the high school field. Outsiders rarely came, news rarely left. Until Samantha Hale disappeared. The sheriff, Clint Morgan, had served 27 years without ever facing a case like this. His department of 12 deputies had handled thefts, barn fires, and bar fights, but never a missing person case that turned the town upside down. Within hours, rumors began to sprout like weeds. Some said she ran off with someone. Others whispered about her husband, Daniel. But for many, it was the fear that something darker, something foreign had crept into their peaceful town. By noon, search parties had already formed. Volunteers lined up at the local church, holding flashlights and maps of the wooded areas beyond the paper mill. It wasn't just about finding Samantha anymore. It was about proving Maple Ridge was still the safe place they believed it was. The local newspaper, the Maple Ridge Chronicle, ran its first front-page headline in years that wasn't about football or farming. Notable local woman missing, car found at gas station. Every diner booth buzzed with theories. People examined her smile in the paper, searching for hidden clues. The waitress at the Millstone Cafe said she came in 2 nights before she vanished, ordered coffee, didn't finish it. One man swore he saw her car parked at the edge of town that night. Another claimed he heard screams near the Old Mill Road. None of it matched. None of it mattered. There were no witnesses, no footage, no trace. Maple Ridge wasn't built for mysteries, and that made this one impossible to bear. Everyone in Maple Ridge knew Samantha Hale. She grew up here, a straight-A student, choir singer, the kind of person who volunteered at food drives and remembered birthdays. At 28 years old, she was married to Daniel Hale, a mechanic at the local auto shop. They'd been high school sweethearts. Together, they bought a modest 1-story home on the outskirts of town, 2 streets from the school she once attended. But behind that postcard-perfect marriage, something had begun to unravel. 2 weeks before she vanished, Samantha confided in her friend Megan Crawford, saying, "I think Daniel's hiding something." When pressed, she never explained what. Phone records would later reveal a string of calls from an unknown number during that same week. Late at night, unanswered, traced to a prepaid cell phone, never recovered. Her co-workers at Benson's Gas, where she worked the night shift, noticed her growing distant. She'd stare at the security monitor longer than usual. One said she began locking the front door even during business hours, something unheard of in Maple Ridge. Whatever she feared, it seemed to be closing in. The last text she ever sent to her husband was 11:18 p.m. It read simply, "We need space." It would be the final message ever sent from her phone. Daniel later claimed he never saw it until morning, but investigators noticed his phone had pinged off a tower less than 2 miles from the gas station that night, at 11:26 p.m. That single discrepancy would fuel a decade of suspicion. Her mother, Eleanor, refused to believe her daughter ran away. She described Samantha as the kind of woman who left sticky notes to remind herself to water the plants. Running away, she said, would have meant leaving the people she loved most behind, something Samantha would never do. And so, on the first night of the search, Eleanor stood outside the gas station, clutching a candle, whispering, "Come home, baby. Please come home." By the second morning, Maple Ridge felt like a wound that wouldn't close. The church bell rang at dawn, not for prayer, but to summon volunteers. Dozens of residents arrived carrying flashlights, backpacks, and the quiet weight of disbelief. The sheriff organized them into teams, assigning sectors across fields, rivers, and wooded trails. The Maple Ridge Volunteer Fire Department opened its doors to serve coffee and sandwiches. Helicopters were called in from Bloomington and Indianapolis, sweeping thermal cameras across 40 square miles. Dogs sniffed through cornfields, following trails that ended abruptly, as if she'd vanished into thin air. By the third day, local TV stations arrived. Their bright vans and cameras stood out like intruders among corn silos. Reporters asked strangers how it felt to lose a daughter of the town. No one had the right words. One searcher, a farmer named Cal Turner, said he found something, a single flip-flop, half buried near the creek bed behind the mill road. The tread matched the shoes Samantha wore that night, but there were no footprints leading to or from it. Only water, thick with mud. The sheriff ordered a dive team to scour the creek. They found nothing. Each day ended the same, the searchers silent, their faces streaked with sweat and dirt, returning home to sleep beside porch lights left burning. On the fourth day, Daniel Hale made his first public appearance. He stood before cameras, voice trembling, asking whoever took his wife to bring her home. But to many watching, including Sheriff Morgan, something about his composure seemed off. His eyes were dry, his pauses rehearsed. Later that night, he refused to let police search his garage without a warrant. That refusal changed everything. Within 48 hours, investigators obtained one. What they found inside the Hale garage stunned even the most seasoned officers. A set of women's clothes in a plastic bin, folded neatly, all belonging to Samantha, freshly washed, still smelling of detergent. Daniel claimed she had done laundry before work, but forensics revealed the fibers were soaked, washed sometime after her disappearance, not before. The town that once pitied Daniel now watched him with suspicion. The deeper investigators looked, the more cracks they found in Daniel's story. He had told police he'd been home alone watching TV from 10 p.m. to midnight. But cell phone data placed him driving near Highway 7, a desolate stretch between the gas station and the river, precisely at 11:25 p.m., just 8 minutes after Samantha's last text. A convenience store clerk recalled seeing him buying cleaning supplies that same night: bleach, garbage bags, and gloves. When questioned, Daniel said he was doing late-night house chores. Detectives weren't convinced. They sent the items for forensic analysis. Trace evidence revealed microscopic blood specks, human, female, and later confirmed through DNA to belong to Samantha. The sheriff's voice shook when he read the report. He said, "We're no longer looking for a missing person. We're looking for answers." The small town spiraled. Neighbors whispered over fences. The diner closed early. Kids were told not to walk alone after dark. Reporters camped outside Daniel's home, their van lights flickering like fireflies in the night. He refused interviews, lowering blinds and waiting for it all to pass. But the story didn't fade, it grew. National networks picked it up. The headline: "The perfect marriage that vanished overnight." Behind the scenes, detectives combed through years of Daniel and Samantha's history. Financial records showed mounting debt, 3 missed mortgage payments, an insurance policy worth $250,000 in Samantha's name, filed just 6 weeks before she disappeared. When asked why he filed it, he simply said, "Because she wanted to feel safe." To the sheriff, it sounded like a script. Then, just as the case seemed airtight, something unexpected surfaced. A man named Ethan Price, a long-haul trucker, claimed he saw Samantha alive 2 days after her disappearance, walking along a highway rest stop 70 miles south. He described her clothes, her hair, even her limp. He said, "She looked scared, like someone was following her." Investigators checked every camera within 10 miles. Not a single image matched his account. But one camera, in a nearby motel, captured something chilling. A woman, same build as Samantha, entering room 14 at 2:42 a.m. with an unknown man. She never checked out. By the time police arrived, the room had been cleaned, sheets replaced, and the registry erased. The motel clerk said he remembered nothing. Theories fractured the town in half again. Some believed she had escaped a violent home and fled. Others believed Daniel had caught her trying to leave. But the truth would prove far stranger. 3 months later, on November 21st, 2009, a hunter discovered a shallow grave off Mill Creek Road, less than 4 miles from where Samantha's car was found. The remains were partially buried, wrapped in what looked like a bedsheet. A single earring shaped like a heart lay beside the skull. Dental records confirmed it was Samantha Hale. The cause of death: blunt force trauma to the skull. Time of death: consistent with the night she disappeared. Daniel was arrested within hours. When police brought him in, he said only one thing: "You'll never prove what really happened." But proof, as it turned out, was everywhere. Forensic teams matched fibers from the sheet to fabric found in Daniel's laundry bin. Traces of the same detergent were found on both the sheet and the clothes discovered in his garage. A single drop of blood, invisible to the naked eye, was found on the garage floor, confirmed by DNA as Samantha's. When faced with this evidence, Daniel finally spoke. His confession was chillingly calm. "We fought. She said she was leaving. I tried to stop her. It just happened." No one in Maple Ridge would ever forget those words. Daniel Hale was sentenced to 40 years in prison. He remains incarcerated to this day, never expressing remorse. Samantha's mother still keeps her daughter's bedroom untouched. Photos on the wall, the bed neatly made, a note on the mirror reading, "See you tomorrow." Every year on the anniversary of her disappearance, Maple Ridge holds a candlelight vigil outside the same gas station. People come, not just to mourn, but to remember. Because the story of Samantha Hale is no longer just a tragedy, it's a warning that evil doesn't always come from strangers. It grows quietly, right beside you.